You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI AM 640. It's Later with Mo Kelly. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. The Holly Shorts Film Festival is a short film festival based right here in LA. Since its establishment in 2005, Holly Shorts has grown into a premier platform for independent filmmakers worldwide. As an Academy Awards qualifying festival, its prestige and influence make it a key destination for filmmakers the world over. In addition, it's celebrating its 20th anniversary this year as the festival begins tomorrow, August 8th, and runs through the 17th. Which brings me to the short film, River of Grass, which is based on true events and also tells the story of a troubled young soldier's reckless behavior upon returning from the Vietnam War, which threatens his family's illegal business in the Florida Everglades. River of Grass will be screening at the Holly Shorts Film Festival on Tuesday, August 13th at the TCL Chinese Theater. And joining me right now is the writer and director of River of Grass, Derek Magyar. Derek, how are you doing this evening?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And I'm also joined by writer and co-star of River of Grass, Chad Christopher. Chad, we've talked offline for a little bit, and I'm glad we finally got this conversation together. How are you tonight?
I'm doing very well, Mo. I'm doing very well. Hopefully we don't have any fires or earthquakes. It's been a busy week for you.
Yeah, no guarantees. But Chad, let me start with you. You've had a long career as an actor, and I'm sure that writing has also been your passion. But if you had to choose, which is the more difficult door to kick open in Hollywood, working as an actor or as a writer?
Oh, goodness. I think as a writer, I started acting as a child actor, so it was a little bit easier for me to get into that as a child actor in New York City. But as a writer, for me, that's been a little bit more of a difficult road to get into. But with my background in Florida, Everglades, and then I am also a retired police officer with undercover narcotics, I have a lot of good stories to tell. So I was fortunate enough to team up with Derek, and then the two of us with our other producing partner, John Block, we were able to create this wonderful story.
Hey, Derek, a similar question to you since Chad directly references you. You two have had a long and successful television career, and I'm sure that informs what you do as a director. But has the industry become more accessible? Because you have folks out here who can shoot shorts and movies on an iPhone. What has technology meant for you and what you do as a director?
I think technology has definitely helped the way to making creating art easier. I think in terms of the business as a whole and the ability to kind of, make an impact, it's certainly not easier, but I think that the good thing is that there's really no excuse for anyone not to have the ability to create something. And I think that we're at a kind of crux in Hollywood where you really have to be a multi-hyphenate in order to make it in this business. And that means whether you're directing, writing, producing, acting, doing all of those things, it's important that you're able to just kind of go and just create, so that way you just kind of find what avenue you can fit in.
Hey, Chad, you mentioned that you probably have a lot of stories to tell, given your history as a police officer and having, connection to the Florida Everglades. But we also know that there have been a number of stories about the Miami, South Florida drug trade over the years. But I don't know if there have been many from the standpoint of its origins or connection to the Vietnam War. Why did you and Derek decide to go to this period in history to tell this story, which is based on true events?
Well, I wanted the origin aspect. How did it all really start? I mean, if you look at the Florida Everglades, you go all the way back to Prohibition, and Al Capone had a small little island where he was hanging out things and his booze and stuff. So the Florida Everglades has got a lot of history of criminology happening because it's so remote. For me, I wanted something. We've seen a lot of these shows and movies and stuff where it's modern day technology. I wanted something where we are seeing somewhat of the police officers or law enforcement are behind. They don't know how to catch up yet because this is all brand new and they don't have the technology yet to listen in on phone calls and sat phones and all that kind of stuff. So it was more of a cat and mouse game that period of time. And I also really, and Derek and I also, as well as John, felt like 1969 is just such an amazing time period. And with all of the things happening politically, 1968, and so many things are happening. It's just a mirror moment right now. So we just, and I think Derek will also chime in on this. It's a great era. It's a great time. And we wanted to tell a story that hadn't been told yet.
Derek, with that in mind, Chad brings up a lot of what was going on in America in that time. It's complicated, it's convoluted, but you know that this is a short and you have limited amount of time as far as exposition and just being able to tell this story. How did you approach trying to tell what seems to be a very complicated story in a very short amount of time?
I think it's picking an aspect of kind of an emotional journey and exploring that. I think that for short films, you're asking the audience to be extra intelligent because they have to kind of make their own assumptions in terms of backstory, in terms of certain things that you can't get across because you have a limited amount of time. So it's really about exploring a theme, taking that theme and doing the best you can to explore it, expose it, showcase it to the audience. And then along the way, you hope that the audience creates certain things for your central characters based on the journey that they see in front of them that kind of are the larger arcing things that aren't necessarily on the screen, that they sort of can assume based on what they are seeing. And that just makes it kind of, interesting and sort of fun. It's really about exploring an emotional theme and hoping that you can achieve that journey. And I think that that's what we've succeeded in doing with this short.
Chad, I'm listening to everything that Derek says, and that sounds pretty complicated. You're both writers, you're filmmakers, which means that you have to make some editorial decisions. I call it chopping off appendages because you have to whittle it down to a manageable amount of time. How difficult was that process to make these decisions where you're maybe cutting dialogue, you're cutting scenes, you maybe even cutting big portions of the story that you originally intended to tell?
Oh, absolutely. It was definitely, there's always going to be projects and times where you're going to have to cut a scene that you love that it's just like, oh man, but it's just for one reason or the other, it's not working. Maybe it's audio, something happened, there's a glitch. But for me, what hurts the most is when Derek decides to cut my scenes because he's the director.
Yeah, I would take that personally. If you're just tuning in, I'm speaking with Chad Christopher, who you were just listening to, and Derek Magyar, as we are talking about River of Grass, which is going to be screened at the Holly Shorts Film Festival on Tuesday, August 13th at the TCL Chinese Theater. More about River of Grass in just a moment. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And if you're just tuning in, I have two guests on the line with me. Both Derek Magyar and Chad Christopher were talking about their new short, which is River of Grass, which is screening at the Holly Shorts Film Festival this coming Tuesday, August 13th at the TCL Chinese Theater. And let's pick it up right there. Chad, talk to me about River of Grass, where we pick up the story, what is happening.
We first see our returning Larry, our youngest member of the Johnson family. He's just now coming home from war. His mom has literally picked him up in their, I forget what Derek and I rented, but it was a beautiful, like, 1967 truck. He's still in his uniform. So he's literally just coming home and seeing his family for the first time. And if, Derek, you want to kind of take it over from there, you can help further describe the scenes.
Yeah, sure. I mean, Larry comes home, and really it's about his sort of reintegration with his family, feeling out the family dynamics, as well as dealing with PTSD, which is a very kind of complicated and nuanced thing, especially in our story. I think the PTSD is not. It's not just because of the fighting that happened. It's also because he lost someone very important to him in his platoon. So it's a very complicated thing. And then I think he's also kind of finding his way now that he's back home. His father has passed away. His father passed away while he was gone. What do the family dynamics look like? What does his place in the family look like? How do I deal with this PTSD that I don't really understand? And kind of, it sort of just kind of unfolds and unravels from there.
Thought we were headed to the camps.
Let's get something straight. Now, I know you went to war. That's, admirable and all. When it comes to this business, you don't know shit. When you were out playing catch with Daddy in the yard, I was the one that was lugging all that hooch through the swamp. I was the one that picked up those draws at the end of the night at the casino. Me. Now, Mama, she can think whatever she damn well pleases. But at the end of the day, it was me that kept this business afloat. You got it?
Whatever, man.
Yeah, whatever, man. You keep your mouth shut and you don't do nothing stupid, maybe I'll find a place for you after all. Any questions?
Yeah. You got one for me?
Well, your hands broke?
No.
Well, then improvise more hero.
Chad, let me come right back to you with that. I know people are listening right now and like, wow, I want to see that. And they have a chance to see that on August 13th at the TCL Chinese Theaters as part of the Holly Shorts Film Festival. But beyond River of Grass, when the jurists see the film or people see the film, potential investors, distributors, is there any real likelihood or possibility that someone could see your short or someone else's and say, look, we need to tell more of this story and build it out to a feature-length film?
Oh, absolutely. And Derek and John, our other producing partner, writing partner, and myself, we have a feature. We've written it. We're in pre-production. Derek is going to be the director. We're working with our wonderful casting director, and we're talking with some people to get them on board. We're working with investors. Derek Magyar, Flying Lessons, his production company. We're making this. It's going to be a great drama, but action, airboats, alligators, drugs, swamps. Our kind of film, or at least the kind of film I like to see.
Hey, Derek, let me put it this way. I don't want to assume. Are you going to be in the theater when River of Grass is being screened? And if so, are you listening for audience reaction? Are there certain cues you're hoping that certain moments will go over and you'll get an audience reaction? What is going through your mind on that night, do you think?
I'm always terrified, anxiety, that's part of it. But overall, yeah, I'm excited. And I think that, this is a short that works really well on all cylinders. I think that we really created something where you're really able to follow the arc of our protagonist, who is Larry, and really follow this sliver of the journey that he's on. And I think the audience will really feel an emotional connection to him. And if they feel that emotional connection to him and they feel the turmoil that he's going through, then we've succeeded.
Chad, what's the process to get in Holly Shorts or any other film festival? We hear about the film festivals, and I think lay people kind of sort of understand their role and importance. But what can Holly Shorts do for you, this movie and others beyond, obviously, if it were to be picked up or financed?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, just the opportunity for the exposure to be able to have a film that Derek, myself, John, so many people worked on. We did it first half of COVID, the second half of the union strikes. Everybody got paid. So just the fact that we have a film that was accepted into a festival, it is the Holly Shorts, as you mentioned, qualifying Oscar. So it's just a great opportunity. Derek is the one that actually put this all together with his wonderful publicist team that he can talk a little bit more about. He was the one that actually was able to get us into the Holly Shorts.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we wanted to premiere the film at a festival in the U.S. that we thought did the film justice. And Holly Shorts is an incredible festival that's put together by a really wonderful group of people. You know, I have a friend who actually premiered his film at Holly Shorts, and his film ended up winning the Oscar that year. So, you know, I think while, you know, I don't expect that kind of thing, it's certainly a wonderful festival to be able to be a part of and be able to premiere our film at, essentially.
Well, all I can say is we will be pulling for you. We will be rooting for you. And I'm talking about River of Grass, which will be screening at the Holly Shorts Film Festival, as you've been hearing, on Tuesday, August 13th at the TCL Chinese Theater. In fact, we'll be giving away a pair of tickets so you can see River of Grass on this Friday during Name That Movie Cult Classic. I do want to thank my guests. You just heard the voice of Derek Magyar, who is writer and director for River of Grass, and also Chad Christopher, who is writer and co-star of River of Grass. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on this evening. Thank you for your work, and we're definitely pulling for you.
Thank you, Mo. I appreciate your time. I always love listening to your show, and you are entertaining, informative, and you keep everybody up to date about what's going on around the world. So we thank you.
Yeah, it's a real pleasure to be a part of this, and we really appreciate your words and your encouragement, and keep doing what you're doing. I think it is really important. We're living in turbulent times, that's for sure. And actually, this movie is a reflection on that. So I really hope that people come and check it out and really get to kind of converse afterward about how it kind of connects to actually what's going on today, which is actually pretty interesting.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, and we'll be checking it out to see where all this leads.
Thank you, Mo. Appreciate it. Have a great day.
Appreciate it.
It's Later with Mo Kelly. KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI, Bo Kelly, live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. I am a John Wick fan. John Wick 1, 2, 3, Chapter 4, Parabellum, whatever. I don't care about the names of them. I'm a fan of John Wick. I did not like the Continental at all. That Abomination prequel. I don't know why they did that.
I didn't make it to the end of it.
Well, you and me both. And I bring that up because there is going to be a John Wick 4 sequel series. Not a movie, but a series. And it's supposed to be the High Table, which promises to combine new and old and thrust the Wick universe into a new age. It didn't say John Wick. It said the Wick universe. Like the Continental was the Wick universe. And I don't want to give it away, but John Wick at the end of 4 went off into the wilderness. You know,
the Wick universe isn't quite as fun without Wick.
Wick, yeah.
I don't know. I think.
No, I know.
No, look, they're doing a series on what's name's character.
Which one?
The blind guy.
Oh, Donnie Yen?
Donnie Yen. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yen. They're doing a series on him. They're doing a series on the ballerinas. All of the Russian ballerinas that we were introduced to in 3. And this series hopefully will bring back a lot of the characters that we saw throughout the John Wick universe, just different side characters that could take it to another. Yeah, look, I know the concept.
It's like the Matrix without Neo.
No, but this is, I'd watch Donnie Yen read the phone book. This is not as bad as I thought.
No. But it's not his story. He's just one of the characters who will be featured in the story. It'd be different if it was his breakaway standalone story.
Yeah, individuals who are looking to take Wick's place as, the Baba Yaga. Who's going to be the next Baba Yaga?
See, that doesn't interest me. What does interest me, that it's going to be written by the Old Man co-creator, Robert Levine. I like the Old Man.
Yes.
So, and that's new season coming out on Hulu in just days. But I don't know if that is going to be this.
Look, Keanu Reeves is producing. So it's not like he's not involved.
So no. I don't need him producing. I need him on screen because it's John Wick.
I think someone else can kill as well as John Wick.
Let's see, this is supposed to take place after John Wick 4. So it's a sequelization. You're moving the story forward. I don't care about the high table. I care about John Wick. I want to know what happens to John Wick after that. I know supposedly he's in the ground.
I would love Common's character to come back.
Didn't he come back at one point?
No, not yet.
Okay, not yet. But still, so they bring him back. So they bring back the guy that Wick killed with a book in the library, who was 7'5".
That was such a great fight scene.
It's a great fight scene. Yeah. But I don't know if that sustains a TV show. Look, the hardest thing about these TV shows is when you have everyone except the person that everyone wants to see. It's almost like when you had the movie Gotham, the TV show Gotham. You had everybody except Batman.
Yeah,
and the show suffered because why are you calling it Gotham? The only person we really care about in Gotham is the Caped Crusader. It's nice that you have a young Penguin. It's nice that you have a young Catwoman and all that. But if it never gets to Batman and we're just looking at a young, kid that's eventually going to grow into Batman, I didn't care about a young Bruce Wayne.
I want to argue with you, but I watched the first couple episodes of Gotham and was like, yeah, I can live without this.
And I live without it. Now, Twala liked it. I don't know why he stayed with it for many seasons.
I watched it through to the end. I watched it till he became Batman in the end.
And that's when the series ended, when he became Batman.
Yeah. But I thought to myself, to me, this is a great series because you need to know what actually drives a man or a young man beyond just being mad and angry, but what drives this individual to put on this cape and cowl and go out at night and fight bad guys. What goes into the Penguin? He's not just some dude who likes fish. That wasn't his story.
But I liked how they gave these characters backstories. Yes. I didn't like how they all knew each other and they dealt with each other on some level, where Bruce Wayne and what's her name? Selena Kyle.
But they were always familiar.
Kids. As kids?
Not as kids, but but giving that backstory, they were always familiar. But all of the rogues in Gotham, they all know each other.
Yeah,
that's not.
But it's almost like it. I want to make a comparison here. It's almost like the Sony Spider-Man universe. You have everybody except Spider-Man.
Okay. Yeah, that's bad. That's bad. That's
if I'm going to be tuning into the John Wick universe and never get to see John Wick, it's not as interesting. Not to me, at least.
If there's good killing with Under the High Table, you're not going to be
because that's just any other killing TV show. It's like, what's the Bourne Identity without Jason Bourne?
Well, we all saw that awful Jeremy Renner movie that they made without him.
That was bad.
Okay,
not a quality.
Case in point.
Yeah. Well, God gives away with one hand, takes with the other. Whatever. However that saying goes, we might be getting another Keanu Reeves Constantine movie.
Now that is something I've wanted to see since the very first one.
Absolutely,
I don't know how that movie managed to not get a sequel immediately.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Long overdue.
It was well done. It was well acted. It was not overly laden with special effects. It was the guy who played the devil, can't remember his name, is a character actor. He's actually Russian in real life. He was really good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, the fact that Keanu Reeves has absolutely nothing in common with the Constantine that we know from every other form of media is no big deal because it was just a great movie. They built around him.
They could have called it Stan. instead of Constantine. It would have been fine. Just Stan, the Demon Slayer. It was just well done, and they never came back to it. For all the other movies, which did get sequels, I have no idea why they didn't. And Keanu Reeves was still a bankable star when that movie was made.
Peter Stormare was the devil.
That's right. Yes.
No, and Mark is right. They are doing it's the new one. It's leaning heavier into the horror. It's going to be rated R. And DC was inspired to do it, surprisingly, after the success of the first Joker, because they were worried about, would Constantine work as a rated R film? Because they're like, the whole PG-13 thing, they think that pushed people off of not going to see it. But now they're like, oh, wait a minute. People will go and see a rated R film from DC. Let's do it.
Did they ever give up on that rated R Spawn?
No. McFarlane is still doing it. He was actually talking about it at Comic-Con this year. It's moving forward. Still has Jamie Foxx attached. So yeah, they're doing it.
Jamie Foxx. Interesting.
Yeah. Jamie Foxx is Al Simmons.
Look, they can still bring back Michael Jai White, as far as I'm concerned.
They could, yeah.
You know, it's Al Simmons, yeah. I don't know. Going back to John Wick, the high table, they need to atone for the Continental.
The Continental. I never finished that. I saw the first 2 episodes and said, get this trash out of here. This trash.
And look, you would think I'd be more inclined to see John Wick Under the High Table because it's a sequel that moves the story forward. I don't really care for prequels because I know that there aren't real stakes for the main characters because they got to live to get to the stuff that we already know happened. So that takes a lot of the fun out of it for me. But, I'll need someone to watch this for me and give some high marks before I donate my time. Oh, and real quickly, while I'm thinking of it, I saw this Mel Gibson movie today, and I think it's called Caller on the Line, where Mel Gibson plays this radio host, this shock jock radio host. And I think I saw it on the Max app. And I don't want to give it away because it's a thriller and there's some twists. But as radio people, you have to see it. It's not good. Let me tell you this. But you got to see it all so we can pick it apart on air. No, I want you to sacrifice the time. I think it's called On the Line, but it stars Mel Gibson as a shock jock radio host. And this is when I knew it was going to be bad. He's a radio host in LA for this radio station, which is 100.3 on FM. Not a podcast. That's important because every other word out of his mouth is profanity. He's dropping F-bombs and everything. It's like on the air. Every type of profanity you could imagine. And he's doing it on 100.3 FM, this supposed like KALT or something, this music station. They have Kevin Dillon from Entourage on it. There's some people in it.
What, they could get him?
Yes, he was available.
Yeah.
And there's some other recognizable faces, but it's an interesting concept about the crazy caller to the radio station at night. And that's all I'm going to say. You ought to check it out. It's good bad. It's bad because you're laughing like, that can't happen. That can't happen because you're listening, or I was watching it through a radio professional's eyes. It's like, you just can't cuss with impunity on the radio, dropping F-bombs. You'd be off the air in 5 minutes. But they do it in this, and there's some other outlandish, unbelievable things. Worth your time.
I'm surprised your first clue that it was going to be crap wasn't that.
Did you find it 12?
It starred Mel Gibson.
No, I'm looking for this.
Okay, On the Line.
I just see Boneyard, Monster Summer, and Flight Risk.
Yeah, it's called On the Line. It came out in 2022.
Oh, I'm looking for 2024.
And it says, a provocative and edgy radio host must play a dangerous game of cat and mouse with a mysterious caller who's kidnapped his family and is threatening to blow up the whole station.
Oh, yeah, I see it now.
Yeah.
Oh, wait,
there's some parallels.
Movie?
Huh?
Didn't someone already kidnap his family in another movie?
Yeah, that's a recurring motif. Yeah, that's what Mel Gibson does.
Okay.
But just as radio professionals, I want you guys to check it out. Give it some time and tell me what you think. I'm asking you.
Okay. All right. This is rough.
Yeah, I don't know if I owe that to anybody. It looks rough.
I said it's a favor. I didn't say that you owed it to anyone. I'm saying it would be great for you to review as a movie critic.
Can we play some greatest hits of his real life stuff if we do a review of it?
Yes, we can. Yes,
I mean,
we can.
we probably can't play any of that in the air either without.
You could bleep it,
yeah,
but you can.
Yeah, it'd be all bleep.
It would just be one long bleep. Yeah.
Yes, it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's later with Mo Kelly. We'll check in with George Nori when we come back. KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
And in a few minutes, we'll have Coast to Coast AM with George Nori, and he joins me right now on the line. Good evening, sir.
Hello, Mr. Kelly. We've got a great show tonight. The numbers lady joins us to tell us about numerology, what our numbers mean, and then later on, we're going to talk about super consciousness on Coast to Coast.
All right, then. Hope to hear from you soon.
See you soon. That was a good movie, by the way, with Mel Gibson.
Oh, you saw it. So without giving it away, what did you think of his portrayal of a shock jock?
Somebody needed to tell them the laws of radio.
Right? It's like you can't do that.
I think they thought they were doing a podcast.
Or they thought they were on Sirius XM, but I said, no, that is a broadcast station that they're supposedly portraying. It's like, no, that would never happen. But
I'll tell you what, though, the industry has changed because we have guests that we have to bleep sometimes.
Oh, you too?
Because they think they can get away with it.
We have callers when we do our Friday night game, and they will call in, and we tell them, don't cuss, get on the air, and they'll make a mistake, and they say, oh, whatever. And it's like, look, you can't cuss, and we catch as much as we can, but if you're listening over the stream, you're still going to hear it.
Absolutely. And I'm old school. There's some things I won't even get close to saying on the air.
Yeah, you're pretty straight-laced. I mean, I know I'm probably pretty offensive to you, and I appreciate you tolerating me.
Well, I have to.
Bye, George. I love you too. So before we get out of here, to all of you looked up the movie On the Line with Mel Gibson. It came out in late 2022. No one had ever heard of it. It's on Netflix. You can check it out right now.
I didn't even see this on my new movies to watch this, but the trailer is actually very intriguing. The trailer, it sucks you in, and now I actually have to watch this. I like it. It is actually a really, really good trailer. And the way that it's tense, and I can see if this is a podcast or a satellite show that they're doing, then this is perfect. If this is supposed to be terrestrial radio,
it's terrestrial radio.
Then it's tough, but still the setup is great.
The setup is great. And we're going to get Elmer to play the trailer so we know we're all talking about at the same time.
It looks believable. It looks believable to me.
All right, people. Settle in. Relax. Give me a call. This is On the Line.
Are you ready?
I'm always ready.
We're expecting your calls. Talk to Elvis live on air and tell him about all of your issues and problems.
If it isn't the greatest radio host. Okay, we got Gary on the line. What say you, Gary? Gary, you with us?
I'm gonna do something really screwed up tonight.
You at home?
No.
Does the home belong to someone you know?
No.
It belongs to somebody not very nice.
And I'm gonna take out his whole family.
Gary, what was that?
I'm breaking into the house.
Hey, Gary, stop, wait, come on. Why hurt his family? I mean, they're innocent. You're better than that, Gary. Tell me calmly. Where exactly are you?
I'm at your house.
Honey.
Tonight, I've gone out of my way to make sure you spend the worst night of your life. See, I've created a game, and I think you're gonna love it.
This can still end well.
But I don't want it to end well.
I don't want to die here.
Well, if we don't want to die, we gotta fight.
Well, that won't be easy. Now I want you to chump. So how about you tell us the truth? We're all listening.
Show yourself, you slippery son of a...
So Tuala's homework assignment, he's going to check out On the Line with Mel Gibson. It's not a new movie, but it's something that's new to us because it wasn't advertised, wasn't promoted at all. We love movies. None of us had known anything about it. I saw this like, Mel Gibson, radio host, shock jock? Let me see what this is about.
Too. You had to be flipping.
I was flipping, and it came up on the stuff that we think you'd like, that kind of thing, recommended list. And I said, okay, I'll give it 10 minutes. And it held me for 10 minutes, and I started laughing out loud as like George was saying, you can't do some of the stuff that they were doing, but I'm not gonna hold the movie to that because it's a movie, not real life. But it's interesting how they resolved everything, and I would love to get your input. So that means you would have to watch it to the end to understand everything. That's all I can say. I don't want to give it away.
I'm going to do it.
Okay.
I'm going to do it. Mark, are you with me?
Well, if I can have a cocktail and one of those...
definitely watch it with a cocktail.
I got to have it out of one of those new Mo Kelly mugs, though. Get a mouthful of Mo, and then maybe I can deal with the movie.
Why you got to make it weird?
I didn't make anything weird.
Yes, you did.
I don't know what you're talking about.
KFI AM 640, we're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.